Hello, Patrick. It's great to see Faurecia at IAA. You must be happy that Faurecia is here showcasing its technology solutions. After all the COVID challenges of the last 18 months, what does it mean for Faurecia to be here at this year's event?
You know, it's after now about 2 years without having real contacts. It's really good to see the people. To see the people we know, and which allows us to have a much smoother way to do business together. The other thing is that it's good also to see the technology, to see the cars which will be exposed, to see the content of these cars, to discuss with the industry leaders about the trends, what's next, what are the difficulties, how do they intend to manage the transition phases, which are always a difficulty.
So, events like IAA highlight some of the transformation that's underway in the automotive industry. In your perspective, what are the greatest challenges ahead?
You know, they are well known. You have the electrification, you have all the ADAS, or the driving assistance, and the trend towards autonomous driving, even if it's not exactly for tomorrow. You have the CO2 related constraints, and this is quite fundamental.
So Faurecia's offer for HELLA was big news this summer. Can you explain why Faurecia made this acquisition and what combining the companies will bring?
We've started in 2017, 2018 to make investments in the electronic. And it's very clear that electronic and software will have a very great role to play in the future mobility. So with Clarion, we made a big step, but not enough. We still were not at critical size, and we needed to grow. And especially we needed to grow in these domains like electrification, electric mobility, ADAS. Yeah? The combination with HELLA is perfect. Why? Because finally in the automotive industry, what you need is to add segments in which you have leading positions, which have a very high technology content, which are growing fast. And this is what HELLA is bringing to us with also lighting, which is a very interesting technology with more and more electronics, and with lighting participating to the ADAS and to, in the future, the autonomous driving. And you have all the aftermarket, but not only. I'm very interested in the diagnosis business HELLA is developing, devices and services, which we will integrate into a bigger ensemble, which we will call life cycle value management, which I believe is the next big transformation, which is again CO2 reduction driven, but not only, which is also related to maintaining the value of the mobility assets as long as possible during their life cycle, which also means, of course, circular economy and recycling. So for all these reasons, it made a lot of sense to consider HELLA. We are complementary. We are two companies in good health. We are growing companies, both of us. Yeah? And we've learned to work together, and consequently to assess how compatible we are from a cultural point of view, from the values we share. So all of that is making it the perfect combination. And on the top of that, the size has a lot of virtues. It allows you to invest in innovation at a higher level. It allows you to invest in your growth. And very importantly, it allows you also to deleverage your investments. And in this case, to continue to be an actor of this industry to the benefit of all the stakeholders, and of course, first of all, for our customers.
Coming back to the solutions you're showcasing at IAA, Faurecia is investing massively in hydrogen mobility. Can you maybe tell us a bit why?
I think that when you buy a car, you buy mobility freedom. And whatever is constraining your mobility freedom is negative. So I think that hydrogen combined with battery electric vehicles is complementary, will allow us to offer the perfect solution. And I think that the dual energy, especially with the light commercial vehicles, which I think is also perfectly adapted for the light trucks in America, might be the right solution for the future. Yeah? And I do believe that the hydrogen mobility will grow fast. It will grow first with the heavy mobility and also in the other segments after 2030. And I'm sure that we totally underestimate what the share of the hydrogen mobility will be between 2030 and 2040.
So in terms of zero emission solutions, we're not just talking about technologies for fuel cell electric vehicles. Faurecia is also working for battery electric vehicles.
Yeah, I think the beauty of the combination with HELLA is that it gives us the possibility to stay on two legs. We have on one hand the battery electric vehicle part, where we are bringing our advanced battery pack, where HELLA is bringing sensors and actuators, but where they are also bringing the battery management systems. We have the hydrogen part with different storage systems, gas and liquid. And we have with Symbio, our joint venture with Michelin, also the possibility to completely offer the integrated system. On the top of that, we will have also access to a power electronic. And again, here, if you combine the batteries with the stack, with the hydrogen part, you can have synergies between the technologies and also in terms of packaging. So I think here again, we are very well placed. Let me also tell you that I do believe that hybrid solutions and plug-in hybrid solutions have a nice future in front of them.
So powertrain technologies are changing and the interior of today's car is also being reinventing. What would you say the wanted trends and innovations for the cockpit of the future are?
I think the people want to have a safe environment. They want to make sure that all the assistants are increasing safety and are allowing them to do other things than just being concentrated on driving. I also believe that they want to have experiences inside the car and even individualized experiences. They want everything to be more simpler. HMI, for example, is a good example. It's too complex today. You have to manipulate different modules for climate comfort, for example. This should be done through algorithms. On the top of that, I do believe that in the future, you will disagree to have a car with functionalities which will be frozen as long as you will have this car. If your use cases are changing, you might need to also have a different interior in the car with some changes and even hardware changes inside. And we will have to provide all of this.
Earlier you were talking about sustainable cockpit. Did you see that as a driver for the future market?
Absolutely. But this is transversal. Yeah? We will have to consider the CO2 reduction. And so we are fully engaged in this race, which is a time race we need to be good at. But this means also new materials, new architectures. We call it architecture for the planet, which means circular economy. We need to be able to recycle. We need to be able to upgrade these materials. And so in doing that, it's what I spoke about earlier, you will increase the value of your car. And if you do this, you will also provide new business models for the mobility.
Thank you, Patrick. Maybe one final question. What is your personal favorite innovation that we're showing on the Faurecia stand at IAA?
I have to tell you that what is for me the most enjoyable thing is the quality of the work our teams are doing around the world. And this quality of innovation, this capacity to think about what's next and what is the future is for me one of the nicest things I am experiencing in my professional life. You know, when I'm a little bit down, I organize a tech session where the people are presenting to me the innovations, and I think that this is reboosting me each time for the next weeks.
I can imagine. Thanks very much for
Thank
chatting
you.
with us, Patrick.